very much. Thank you. Appreciate it very, very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, George. Thank you, Jerry. Thanks to Nevada Democrats. And thank you to AFSCME. Let me tell you, I've been through 8 elections in my state of Connecticut. I'm deeply grateful. In 8 elections, the 40,000 members of AFSCME have supported me in every race. Thank you, AFSCME, for all you do for our country. Deeply grateful to you. Let me tell you, as I stand before you today, there's so much at stake. In fact, the stakes have never been higher, in my view. It's why I stand before you here. There's a sense of urgency in our country that I think we all feel. Issues we need to address. They're national issues. They're obviously issues that are unique to the West, but the issues I've mentioned are some of the ones that we all have to deal with. I believe it's going to take a sense of optimism, a sense of confidence, talking about hope for the future, bringing people together. We can't survive as a nation 51-49. We've got to come together as a party first and then as a nation. I believe that takes optimism and confidence. It means talking about the future and rebuilding that sense of optimism in our country. It's also going to take committed leadership, principled leadership, proven leadership. I've served in the United States Senate for 26 years. I've been involved in every major domestic and foreign policy debate of our country. I know how to bring people together. We've been through 6 years of on-the-job training. That has to stop in America. We need to have leadership. We need to have leadership that knows how to do this, that will bring a sense of passion to it, that brings a sense of hope and optimism for our country. I offer my candidacy with that in mind. I look forward to the coming 11 months to make my case to the American people, to Democrats across this country, and I'm very grateful to the people of this great western state for providing the first forum so you get a chance to know who we are. Thank you for inviting us out here.
Thank you, George. Thank you. And Senator Dodd, the first question actually comes from an AFSCME member, Deborah Frenzy of Reno, Nevada, and she says, she's got a lot.
I think you may have mispronounced it.
If I mispronounce it, I'm sorry.
It's Nevada, George.
Okay. He's already learning French. Glad I can help you again. I will try again.
We pronounce it that way in Connecticut, I want you to know how to.
The benefits of President Bush's tax cuts have overwhelmingly gone to the very wealthy. Meanwhile, federal revenues have dropped to the lowest share of our national wealth in decades. At the same time, we are not paying our nation's bills for the commitments we say are important: education, infrastructure, and health care. Costs for the war in Iraq are nearing $1 trillion, also unpaid. In future decades, we will need not only to pay for our priorities, but also redeem the bonds in the Social Security Trust Fund and our debt held by foreign governments. How will you address this issue?
In 3 minutes.
You're right.
Well, obviously, first of all, we need to have a program here which focuses attention on the issues that America needs. Obviously, its domestic issues are critically important. We also need to make sure we don't allow these tax cuts are going to become permanent in this country. We ought to put a stop to that. I'm hoping we will in the Congress. Providing that kind of benefit for people at the very top levels would be a mistake. We're going to need some, at least, not a repeal of the estate tax, but to moderate it. But if we were to totally get rid of that, there would be a tremendous loss of revenues for the country. We need to bring an end to the conflict in Iraq. $2 billion a week, $8 billion a month is draining our treasury of vitally important resources as well. And then we need to provide the kind of tax breaks and incentives for those in the middle income category of our country so they can begin to grow and prosper and contribute more. Providing decent wages and salaries will allow people to contribute more as well of their hard-earned income to make sure we have the resources for the things we need. We may need a pay-as-you-go system in some areas in order to provide for the needs of our country, to have some discipline in the system. Back some 22 years ago, I offered that on the floor of the United States Senate. Only got 22 votes. But there was a time in this country when we asked people to pay for the things we wanted to do. I think Americans want that kind of discipline in the system. This administration has provided none of that. We need that kind of leadership once again.
Let me follow up on a question about Iran.